Hello and namaste guys. Welcome to new episode of the Level Up podcast. In this podcast, we are going to talk about finding success. Finding success in Nepal or abroad. And we're gonna look for the success stories that they achieve inside Nepal with their lot of hard work, dedication, over the matter of time, or someone who went to abroad, especially in US or any other places, and find his success. So before we get into this topic, let's recap our previous episode. On the previous episode, we talked about getting ready. It's like when someone finishes higher education, it's good to look after how to build up the career. Is it suitable to build in Nepal, to study further in the Nepalese institutions, or get into the vocational training, or get into the work, or look for the working abroad, especially in the Middle East or any other European destination, or to pursue higher studies in abroad. So it's all about looking at the situations, making the financial assessments, looking at the what is the suitable things to do based on individual family situations, and then make the correct decisions for the career. So in this episode, in this podcast, we are talking about finding success. So it's about whether we try to find that success inside Nepal, go abroad, and then pursue the academic studies, and then get into the job, or then get into that the success we are looking after. So in Nepal, in this episode, we talk about Min Bahadur Gurung, who is the owner of Bhat-Bhateni supermarket chain. Is one of the largest supermarket chain in Nepal. It's like Walmart in the US, or like Tesco, or like that sort of in the west side. So similar to that we have in Nepal. And also there is another supermarket success story, that's a Gurkha Department Store. That's also one of the very popular supermarket chain, especially in the eastern side of Nepal, where I'm from. And also we have another person called Buddha Air, like Birendra Basnet. So he's the person who never have aviation knowledge, and then he started aviation industry. So like his airlines, Buddha Air, is one of the most successful airlines in Nepal, and his journey, his dedication, and his effort. So this also mentioned in the book. And then looking at the finding success in abroad, there's an example of Prabal Gurung. So Prabal Gurung is a person who studied in the St. Xavier in Kathmandu, and then he studied a little bit in India, and then he went to New York to pursue his dream. So he is one of the prominent, most achieved fashion designer who already design so many clothes to famous person like Michelle Obama and some other persons, all the celebrities of Hollywood and Bollywood. So these are all the things that's in the discussion, and I will just now let the AI host to discuss more into the topic. So they are talking about this topic. They're making some discussions based on the chapter of my book, that is Home or Abroad. It's a chapter 3 of my Level Up book. And then let's get into the AI discussions, and then let's take good things, take some good knowledge, some golden nuggets from their conversations. So let's go.
All right, welcome back everyone. Ready for another deep dive? Today we're tackling a question that I think a lot of us think about, at some point. How do we define success? And is that path found at home here in Nepal, or does it lie somewhere beyond our borders?
It's a question that comes up a lot, that's for sure.
Yeah, and you sent in a really interesting excerpt from a book that tackles this exact topic.
It really does, and I think it's particularly relevant here in Nepal. This chapter dives into that, that grass is greener dilemma so many of us struggle with.
Oh, yeah?
It really pushes us to get off the fence and actually commit to a path.
It off the fence, huh?
Yeah, actually it quotes Jim Rohn, who said, "It doesn't matter which side of the fence you get off on sometimes. What matters most is getting off. You cannot make progress without making decisions."
Oh, I love that. Taking action is key.
Absolutely.
But deciding whether that action takes us abroad or keeps us here, well, that's the million-dollar question, right?
It is, and that's what this chapter really digs into.
Okay, so this chapter focuses on building a business in Nepal or pursuing opportunities internationally, and then it kind of backs up those paths with some real-world examples.
Right, and what's interesting is it presents these two paths, but it never says that one is inherently better than the other. Instead, it really pushes for, self-reflection, asking us to identify what truly aligns with our own personal definition of success.
Okay, I like that. So let's get into these examples.
Yeah.
On the business in Nepal front, we've got the story of Min Bahadur Gurung, founder of Bhat-Bhateni. I mean, talk about a household name.
Right. Everyone knows Bhat-Bhateni.
Did he always envision building this supermarket empire, or did it start much smaller?
Oh, it definitely started much, much smaller. Back in 1984, Bhat-Bhateni was just this tiny little grocery store. What's fascinating is that his success wasn't about some revolutionary idea.
Right.
It was about recognizing a need and meeting it consistently. And then, of course, scaling over time. Today, you can't imagine Kathmandu without Bhat-Bhateni. It's a testament to identifying market gaps, understanding the power of steady growth.
That's interesting because I think sometimes we get caught up in this idea that success needs to be this massive overnight thing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But Gurung's story shows us it could be a slow burn, a dedication to serving a need and kind of evolving with the market.
Absolutely. And that same theme of steady growth emerges in the story of Bal Ram Acharya, founder of Gurkha Department Stores.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Starting with a single store, he steadily expanded across Province 1, establishing a presence in major cities like Ithari, Dharan, and Viratnagar.
So again, it's not about some flashy entrance. It's about consistent effort and strategic expansion.
Yeah.
Building a brand people trust.
Exactly.
I'm sensing a pattern here.
You're picking up what they're putting down. Both Gurung and Acharya demonstrate this deep understanding of their market, of knowing what people want and delivering it reliably.
Okay, before we move on to success stories abroad, there's one more Nepal-based entrepreneur I have to ask you about from this chapter. Birendra Bahadur Basnet, the founder of Buddha Air.
Oh, interesting story.
Now tell me, this chapter isn't claiming that the founder of an entire airline had zero background in aviation.
You read that right. Basnet's background was in commerce, dealing with imports and exports.
Right.
It was his brother-in-law, a pilot for Royal Nepal Airlines, who actually planted the seed for Buddha Air.
Wow. So not only did he venture into a completely new industry, he did it based on somebody else's idea.
Yeah.
That's pretty bold. What made him take that leap?
The chapter doesn't explicitly say, but it highlights how Basnet immediately saw the potential in his brother-in-law's vision. And I think it speaks volumes about the importance of being open to opportunities, even those outside of your immediate expertise, and recognizing the power of collaboration. After all, his brother-in-law brought the aviation expertise, while Basnet likely brought the business acumen to make it a reality. And look at them now, a dominant force in Nepal's aviation.
Yeah. It makes you wonder how many great ideas are out there just waiting for the right partnership to take flight. Literally, in this case.
Literally.
This is already making me think differently about how we approach, both opportunity and collaboration.
And we're just getting started. Now let's shift gears a bit and look at someone who achieved success on the international stage, but with a distinctly Nepali heart. The fashion designer Prabal Gurung.
Oh, Prabal Gurungs. That name is synonymous with high fashion. Wait, this chapter is saying he's from Nepal originally.
Born and raised in Kathmandu, even attended St. Xavier's School there.
Wow, I had no idea.
His passion for design blossomed early. He had a really supportive family, especially his mother.
I'm always curious about that early spark, that thing that ignites someone's passion. Was there like a specific moment for Gurung where he was like, fashion, that's it, that's my calling?
Well, the chapter doesn't go into that level of detail, but it does mention how he was already expressing his creativity through fashion during his school days in Kathmandu.
Really?
Imagine that. A young Prabal Gurung already experimenting with design, a future that would take him to the world's biggest stages still unknown.
Okay, now I'm even more intrigued. This is shaping up to be an amazing story. Tell me, how did he go from school days in Kathmandu to dressing Michelle Obama?
Well, his journey involves strategic steps, each building on the last. His first big move was to India, where he studied at the National Institute of Fashion Technology in Delhi.
Okay, so even early on, he was willing to step outside his comfort zone, to leave home and immerse himself in a new environment. That's got to take a certain level of ambition and drive.
For sure.
What did he do after Delhi?
He didn't just study. He dove headfirst into India's booming fashion scene, gaining valuable experience working with various local productions. He even collaborated with big names like Manish Arora. So even before hitting the global stage, he was already making a name for himself, honing his skills, building his network.
That's such a smart approach.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about the degree. It was about actively engaging with the industry, getting his hands dirty, so to speak.
Exactly.
And all of this while still relatively early in his career. It shows a real commitment to learning and growing. What happened next? Did he stay in India or?
He took another leap, this time a truly massive one. He set his sights on New York City, the epicenter of the fashion world.
Whoa, New York City. Talk about a pressure cooker. That's a whole different level of competition. What made him decide to go for it? Was he nervous about making such a huge move?
The chapter actually mentions that Gurung himself acknowledged the risk, saying that moving to New York could have been a mistake. But he decided that living with a possible mistake was better than living with the regret of never trying.
Wow, that's some serious courage right there. He was willing to bet on himself, on his talent and vision, even when facing the unknown. I admire that kind of boldness. So tell me, did New York live up to the hype? Did he find success there?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, his career in New York took off like a rocket. He interned with Donna Karan while attending Parsons School of Design, joined Cynthia Rowley's design team, and even became design director at Bill Blass.
Wait, hold on. He was interning, going to one of the top design schools in the world, A&D, working for another major fashion house, all at the same time.
All at the same time.
This guy doesn't sleep.
It seems not. And this is where we see that strategic blend of education and real-world experience really paying off. It's a lesson for anyone considering a similar path. Don't just focus on academics. Immerse yourself in the industry you want to conquer.
That makes total sense. You're not just learning the theory. You're building connections, absorbing the culture, seeing how things really work. It's like a fashion boot camp. But even with all that experience, launching your own brand is, well, that's a whole other level of crazy, right?
Especially during an economic recession.
Oh, wow.
Which is exactly what Gurung did in 2009. He launched his own collection, Prabal Gurung, and it wasn't long before he was dressing A-listers, including former First Lady Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama wearing his designs. That's not just success, that's fashion royalty. It's incredible to see how someone with such humble beginnings in Kathmandu reached that pinnacle of the industry.
And what's even more fascinating is how he's used his platform to advocate for diversity and inclusion, both within the fashion world and beyond. He's a powerful example of someone who achieved international success, but never forgot his roots.
I love that. It's like his Nepali heritage isn't just part of his past, it's woven into his present and future. Makes me wonder, what if he'd stayed in Nepal? Would his journey have been completely different? Or are those core traits, the ambition, the creativity, the work ethic, something he would carry with him regardless of location?
That's the question this chapter really makes us wrestle with, isn't it? Is success tied to a specific place, or is it about something deeper, something inherent in the individual?
Right, because we've got these amazing success stories in Nepal like Gurung, Acharya, and Basnet, proving you can absolutely build something incredible right here at home. But then we have Gurung's global trajectory, which makes you wonder about the opportunities and challenges that might lie beyond Nepal's borders.
And the chapter doesn't shy away from that complexity. It even touches upon those working in Gulf countries, often in challenging conditions, sending remittances back home, supporting their families and communities. It's a whole other side of that success abroad coin.
That's an important point. It's a reminder that success abroad isn't always glamorous, that it often comes with sacrifices and tough realities. But it also highlights this interconnectedness, how their hard work abroad has a direct impact back home in Nepal.
Exactly. And those who eventually return to Nepal bring back a wealth of experience, skills, and perspectives that can contribute to the country's development.
It's like a knowledge exchange, a cross-pollination of ideas. You're not just importing goods, you're importing innovation, new ways of thinking.
And sometimes it's not about specific skills, but about a broadened perspective, a global awareness that can inform everything, from business strategies to social initiatives.
Okay, but this whole home or abroad decision can feel so paralyzing. Like, how do you even begin to untangle those threads and figure out what's right for you?
That's where the chapter's emphasis on self-reflection comes in. It's not about blindly chasing what seems, better or easier. It's about asking yourself some tough questions. What kind of environment do I thrive in? What truly motivates me? What kind of impact do I want to make?
It's about getting to the heart of your values, of what a fulfilling life looks like for you, regardless of where that life
Yeah.
unfolds. And sometimes that means taking a risk, even if it means venturing into uncharted territory, just like Basnet did with Buddha Air.
Exactly. It's about embracing the unknown, not with recklessness, but with informed courage. Like Prabal Gurung said, better to live with a potential mistake than the regret of never trying.
I'm curious, what would you say to someone listening who's leaning towards pursuing opportunities abroad, but feels overwhelmed by the enormity of that decision? What steps can they take to make it feel less daunting?
Well, first, I'd echo what we've already discussed, the importance of research and preparation. Prabal Gurung didn't just land in New York and magically become a fashion icon. He spent years honing his skills, building his network, and gaining experience in a relevant field.
So it's not about jumping into the deep end. It's about gradually building your confidence and expertise, even if that means taking smaller steps first, like Gurung's move to India. What else?
I'd also encourage them to connect with others who have already walked that path. Talk to Nepalese individuals who have studied or worked abroad. Ask about their experiences, the challenges they face, the lessons they learned. It's amazing how much insight you can gain from those who have already navigated those waters.
It's like finding a mentor or guide, someone who can share their roadmap and help you avoid some of the potential pitfalls. What about the emotional side of things? Moving abroad can be incredibly isolating, especially at first. How do you manage that sense of being uprooted?
That's where building a support system becomes crucial. It might mean staying connected with family and friends back home, seeking out Nepalese communities abroad, or even connecting with other expats who understand the challenges of adjusting to a new culture. Remember, you're not alone in this journey.
And I imagine that sense of community can be especially important for those who plan to eventually return to Nepal. It's like keeping those ties strong, ensuring that when you do come back, it's not a complete reentry shock.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that the skills and experiences you gain abroad can be incredibly valuable assets when you return to Nepal. You're bringing back a global perspective, a network of contacts, and a fresh set of ideas that can contribute to the country's growth.
So it's not just about personal gain. It's about the potential for collective growth, for using your experiences to make a positive impact back home. That's really inspiring.
And who knows, maybe those experiences abroad will spark an idea for a business, a social initiative, or a creative project that wouldn't have emerged if you'd stayed within your comfort zone. It's all about embracing those possibilities.
So much to think about here. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a moment to really soak in what we've discussed so far. We've seen how success can blossom right here in Nepal through hard work, dedication, and a deep understanding of the market. We've also seen how venturing abroad can lead to incredible growth, both personally and professionally, and how those experiences can ultimately benefit Nepal as a whole.
And we've seen that regardless of the path chosen, it's that inner drive, that commitment to learning and growth that seems to be a defining characteristic of those who achieve their version of success.
Absolutely. And you know what? This conversation is making me even more curious about what happens when people do return to Nepal after achieving success abroad. Do they face unique challenges? Do they feel like they're bringing back something valuable?
That's a great question, and one I think deserves its own deep dive. But for now, let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've learned from these inspiring individuals. What are your key takeaways so far?
For me, it's the reminder that success isn't a one-size-fits-all concept. It's about defining what matters to you, being open to opportunities, and embracing the journey wherever it may lead.
I couldn't agree more. It's about finding your own path, your own rhythm, and trusting that the skills and experiences you acquire along the way will lead you to exactly where you need to be.
So much wisdom packed into this chapter. But I know there's more to unpack, so let's take another quick break and come back to explore what this all means for those of us trying to chart our own paths to success. Okay, so we're back, and I don't know about you, but I'm still kind of reeling from all these stories. It's just amazing to see how people define success in such different ways, whether it's, building a supermarket empire or completely shaking up the fashion world.
What strikes me is just how much agency each of these individuals had in shaping their own destinies.
Yeah.
They weren't just, passive recipients of luck or circumstance. They made bold choices and actively pursued the opportunities that they wanted to go after.
And they didn't let fear hold them back. Like, Gurung's decision to launch his own brand during a recession. I mean, that's some serious guts.
Absolutely. And it speaks to the importance of trusting your instincts, even when things are uncertain.
Right.
It's a reminder that calculated risks can lead to, really extraordinary rewards.
So for our listener who's kind of grappling with this whole home or abroad dilemma, what final piece of advice would you offer based on these stories?
I think I'd say don't get caught up in the shoulds. There's no right answer for everyone. It's really about understanding your own values, your aspirations, and what truly brings you a sense of purpose, a sense of fulfillment.
It's like creating your own definition of success, one that resonates with your individual journey.
Exactly. And remember, even if you choose to venture abroad, you're not, cutting off all ties with Nepal. You're taking a piece of it with you, and you have the potential to bring back those valuable experiences and perspectives that can benefit the country.
Yeah, it's like a continuous loop,
Yeah.
a cycle of growth and contribution that transcends geographical boundaries.
And it all starts with that willingness to step outside your comfort zone,
Right.
to embrace the unknown, and to trust that the path will unfold as it should.
So before we wrap up, I kind of want to leave our listener with something to ponder. We've talked about success in business and creative fields, but what about social impact? How can individuals, regardless of where they find their success, use their skills and experiences to contribute to positive change in Nepal?
That's a great question. It reminds us that success isn't just about, personal gain.
Right.
It's about making a difference in the world around us.
Absolutely. Maybe it's about starting a social enterprise, advocating for a cause you care about, or mentoring young people. There's so many ways to make a meaningful contribution. And often those contributions, ripple outwards, creating a positive impact far beyond what we initially intended.
And who knows, maybe your journey, whether it unfolds in Nepal or beyond its borders, will inspire others to do the same, creating a chain reaction of positive change.
I love that. All right, well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the bustling aisles of Bhat-Bhateni to the runways of New York City. It's been an inspiring exploration of the many paths to success. And a reminder that no matter where our journeys take us, we have the power to shape our own destinies and make a meaningful impact along the way.
Absolutely. It's all about embracing those possibilities and trusting that the journey, with all its twists and turns, will lead us to exactly where we need to be.
Beautifully said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and maybe even a renewed sense of inspiration. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep chasing those dreams wherever they may lead you.